This is my response to the objections that the atheist experience raised to the Kalaam Cosmological argument. I try to summarize the objections and then respond. First of all, they raise the point that this is merely a Muslim argument. This isn't really an objection that they raise, but I meet a lot of Christians who, they have a lack of fondness for Islam, and so they feel like the Kalaam Cosmological argument can't be true because Islam is stupid. And the simple response is that who can be wrong about everything, okay? If someone was wrong about everything, then you can know everything just by disagreeing with that person all the time. Alright, anyway. First objection is, why must this cause be personal intelligence, or, the biblical God? Well, the argument doesn't strive to prove the biblical God, it simply strives to prove a God. So the real question is, why can't it be personal or any sort of intelligence? This is actually a very relevant and significant question. It has been noticed by William Lane Craig as well. He actually addresses it. The short version is that since the Kalaam Cosmological argument bases itself off a cause of time's beginning, then whatever does so must itself exist outside of time. The concept of outside of time allows a mind to see all facts at one moment, and therefore know everything, and therefore do everything. The only question then is whether this thing outside of time is a mind or impersonal, and just, something that just is. So either a law or some impersonal force exists outside of time causing the universe, or mind does. If it is impersonal, then it simply is and has no idea of what could be or should be. It just is. Then whatever aspect of it that causes universes must be timeless, and the universe would be continually beginning to exist timelessly. For time to spring from timelessness itself, the creative entity must be able to conceive of something instead of just being something. As to the issue of special pleading, this was our next objection, and really the main objection. The idea of the objection is that if time cannot be infinite, then God cannot have existed forever either. And of course, I wonder if our atheist experience hosts really think that time can't be infinite. I'm not, that would mean that they think the universe can't have existed forever, but that's a mystery for us to wonder about. The real issue is that, is God supposed to have existed forever? Another possibility remains for God. Perhaps God exists transcendently over time, outside of time, instead of inside it, like our universe does. In other words, in our universe, we obviously don't exist outside of time. We obviously, to exist outside of time is not to say that time's different over here, it is over there, and some, relativistic thought of, in other words, in Einstein's theory of general relativity, there is no proper time, but time is relative to the speed of light. But that doesn't go to the point of saying that two events can happen at once. I'm sorry. The thing that an entity can exist at two times at once. That's a completely different idea. That's transcendent over time. In fact, that's a breakdown in Einstein's relativity. Because the bottom line is, if you can exist two times at once, you would know everything. You would see all facts at once. You could move with infinite speed. To do so, you would be a transcendent, all-powerful being if you were such a being. And so that's my response to the objection. Anyway. Next, our host raised the issue of whether or not we can know anything about early moments of the universe. It would appear that this is a scientific objection and is raised on the basis that our understanding is just too limited at this point. This is true. But the best explanation of the data we have is that space-time began to exist. But this is packed with a lot of outstanding mysteries. All of this is ultimately beside the point. This is the point. The Kalaam Cosmological argument rests on philosophical grounds for the impossibility of an infinite amount of time before today. The simple problem is that today would then be the day at the end of forever. That said, the Kalaam Cosmological argument does enjoy the current support of physics, but physics may make future observations that require new explanations. In other words, used to, as far as we knew physically, time has been going forever as far as physics went, but further investigation in physics has led to this idea of a Big Bang. Anyway. Alright, our next objection is that we cannot know anything about the metaphysical world. And of course, metaphysical would be that which is alongside, with, or along with the physical, or behind. Anyway, because meta, physical. My response is this, okay? How can you know that you can't know anything about something without knowing something about that something? How can you know that you cannot know anything about peanut butter without knowing something about peanut butter's unknowability? Does it even make coherent sense to say that you can't know something about a particular subject, but that something is that you cannot know anything about that particular subject? Next, it is objected that metaphysical entities cannot have an effect on space-time. Well, can they? Is that really true? Our final objection is that if everything needs an explanation, then what about God? Okay, now William Lane Craig always repeats this. He always says that for anything that exists, there must be an explanation of its existence, either in itself or in an external cause. This is actually more relevant to the cosmological argument from contingency, so I can see how a brief mention of such ideas can create confusion. That's it for today. Thank you for your time.